Hey guys, Steel Vico here, and welcome back to another video. And this video is gonna be basically my first review, or Halloween review, like Halloween prop review or whatever. So first things first, I know people have trouble finding a good, like prop review name. Like, I'm not sure who this is, guys, so keep in mind, I guess it's kind of a shout out to them, but like, it's not like paid promotion or anything, because I don't exactly know which one it is, but just off the top of my head, like Graveyard Reviews, Reviews from the Crypt, stuff like that. People have trouble finding good review names like that because all the good ones are taken. Well, I'm thinking mine is gonna be Masked Reviews. Why? Well, obviously because of this. I'm always wearing a mask in my videos where it would have showed my face. I'm always wearing a mask. So, I think that's kind of fitting. So, that's the reason for why they're going to be masked reviews, and I think it's kind of fitting, and it's still Halloween. It's kind of Halloween themed at the same time. So, yeah. Although it kind of does mess with the audio a little bit afterwards, which is, when I put on the mask, but it's fine. So, I do know that, unfortunately, or whatever, there is a, mask reviews, something with a vaporizer or something like that already exists. Don't do drugs. Don't do vaporizing and stuff. I do not think that is okay, in my opinion. You're free to make your own choices, but keep in mind that I don't advise you do that, and that wasn't supposed to be like a shout out or anything, but I recommend you don't look it up. It doesn't matter, but YouTube, please don't demonetize me or anything for this. But yeah, please do not that. This isn't what it's about. Masked Reviews is strictly Halloween when it's on my channel. Anyway, so my first review ever, technical review, I guess, is gonna be on the animated jack-o'-lantern. So first of all, his name is kind of annoying because there are several animated jack-o'-lanterns, and I think they could have came up with a much better name. Even Pumpkin Creep would have been better than animated jack-o'-lantern. But that's whatever. That's their choice. So let's get to the review. Keep in mind, I'm very new to this, so my review might not be as helpful as, say, somebody that's been doing it a lot longer than I have. But I'll do my best to give me my opinions on these things. You guys might, see it differently than I do, but this is my overall thought about it. And also, when I'm doing reviews, when I mention price, it's the price that I got it at. So I'm not gonna talk about when it first arrived at stores, what the price was. I'm gonna say what I bought it for, and if I thought it was worth it for that price. Mostly because at the time that I'm making this, if you're gonna find another one of these props, you're most likely to find it at about this price. So, anyway, let's get to the actual review. Not exactly sure what manufacturer made this. I don't know if it's obviously not Gemmy, but along those lines, I don't know who it is. It was originally at CBS, got it at Goodwill for about 40, I'm thinking 40, maybe 50, I can't remember for sure. $40. Pretty good deal for a life-size prop. But basically, I probably should get to the price last. But, so first of all, to talk about its durability. I had it for a couple weeks. It hasn't been running nonstop or anything. It said it had a broken part, but the only thing that I've noticed that's slightly broken was the weakening plastic inside the neck. But I don't know if that's what it was even mentioned. But, he's stable. We've carried him up and down the stairs a lot. His parts, his metal supports aren't going to fall apart anytime soon. Surprisingly, it seems that his neck is not going to just suddenly fall off, and his head isn't going to fall. His lights and sounds and hood still work. The only complaint I have about his operation is sometimes, on the rare occasion, if something is in the way of the hood, it will get stuck like here, and then it won't go all the way back down. But once you press it back down and get it into clear, it'll work. So I think, in most cases, the reason for that error is usually just the operator's error. So technically, it's not the prop's fault or manufacturer's fault. So overall, I think he is, of high quality. That's just my opinion. You guys can feel as you want. Definitely would recommend putting like sandbags or something if you're using it outside or something over here, just in case, because he is somewhat light and the wind could take him out. But yeah, now to get to like the look and what I think about him and the quality of the fabric and stuff like that. So let's just start with his clothes. I noticed his clothes has been reused on a lot of pumpkin props. Not sure if this was the first or not. Kind of a basic look to it, and it doesn't have like a ton of detail to it, but you can't really add a ton of detail to clothes. And I mean, I do like the what do you call it? Torn drape or whatever you want to call it. But no rips in the fabric that I'm aware of. Like other than here, but that would be under durability. I guess that's my one complaint about that, is that the Velcro broke. I guess you can't get a ton of detail into the fabric, but I mean, it looks cool. I mean, it's not like a deal breaker for me, and I don't think it is for very many people, like the detail on that. You will find a couple hot glue spots here and there, possibly because I guess there was some slight damage, like the stuff was supposed to be up here, but maybe that was part of the broken item. Part of the reason why it was considered a broken item. But other than that, pretty solid there. Okay, now on to the biggest complaint of when it comes to detail for this prop is its hands. Its hands are pretty big and skeletal, which is kind of unfitting for a pumpkin guy, but a lot of things could be happening. It could be like a skeleton pumpkin somehow, but the fact that it's just a single solid color, basic skeleton hand, you could get at just about any store. They didn't really add any, like black outline anywhere on the hands. It does look pretty cool, and like I said, it's not gonna wouldn't really affect, me buy, if I had seen this, it wouldn't necessarily have affected me buying it, considering I already bought it. But like if I saw him on a shelf or like on display, and I saw his hands, I wouldn't be like, oh, there's no detail in the hands, I'm not buying it. But that is something that I would like to note, is the fact that there's like no detail in the hands whatsoever. But at least they bothered to color it orange, I guess. But one of the best parts when it comes to detail is is his face. His face, I think, in my opinion, it has a lot of detail. Some people might say it doesn't have very much, but I think that's just depending on, the prop company. Like, there are certain companies that put a lot of detail into their props. Others don't, but when you don't put a ton of detail or, move them back and forth, it can possibly be cheaper. So, but I do think that there's quite a bit of detail in his head, which makes it look really cool. Something with durability is this part is actually kind of slightly broken / hollow, so it kind of bent in, and I had to rebend it back into place, and maybe that's because, like, I might have, like, squashed it or something, but just a little bit damaged there, but you can't even notice it now because I fixed it. But you can see that they had, like, have black accents around the eyes. They even added, like, some red accents, too, which look really nice. They're, like, red dots all over the top. And, I mean, they did a lot of work in this area, I think, for, the paint job, which I think just looks really cool. So, like, this does have a lot of detail, in my opinion, so I think that would basically cancel out the hands and stuff, because it just looks cool. And I like their decision on making this, like, have the, lines and the lights, versus just, it being a solid color. And I don't know if they didn't have a choice with that or not, but I think that makes it look a lot cooler. and it just adds to the look in general. So he does kind of give off like you could like put him in a swamp theme. That'd be like really fitting for this character. So I do think he is worth $40. I need to cover animation. Alright, so to animation and like the sensors and stuff. The sensors is one of my main complaints because the sensors are somewhat not reliable because you literally have to clap your hands or like touch it or stomp to make it go off. So it's not like somebody who's walking by, even if they like walk by on cement. I'm thinking the chances of it going off are like 50%, which, you know, I guess happens, but like out of the box, you know, and maybe that was the broken part of him, but I don't think it was. But out of the box, it's only like a 50% chance that he'll go off when somebody walks by. Like, you literally have to touch him or clap your hands really loud, and I don't think trick-or-treater's gonna run by stomping. Well, I mean, if it's a toddler, they might, but the possibility of it going off is kind of low sometimes with that kind of thing. But if you tap him, he most of the time will go off. He's a bit crooked right now. So, yeah, I guess I can cover animation right now real quick. So, honestly, his animation, and like I said, this is kind of like what the CVS pharmacy sells, I guess. So, his animation, I guess, is kind of cool because, you know, maybe if you don't expect it like that, but I mean, I kind of think that they could have done something a lot cooler with his overall design versus his hood just flying off. I do like the way that when the hood hits, it kind of, you know, shakes his head a little bit, so it looks a little more lifelike. But I do have a few things to say about his animation and sound and stuff like that. So first of all, I think his audio is it's okay. They could have used something like better, like maybe him, you know, talking. You know, like I was thinking if they were gonna go with the hood flip thing, they could have done something more like, you know, him talking a little bit, you know, quietly, and then he like says something, his voice gets a little higher, and then his hood flips off, and then he screams. I think that'd be kind of cool. Or maybe even just a couple different scream phrases somehow. I mean, with the type of animation he has, I can see where they might have had some trouble, you know, coming up with multiple phrases. But it would have been nice if you would have had a couple phrases versus just one repetitive phrase. And his demo mode makes his hat thing go off twice, which makes sense because it's a demo mode. You know, you got to see it, you know, just to showcase it twice. But what I think is kind of weird is the fact that when he's on mode and he's triggered, he goes off 4 times. His hood goes up, back 4 times, which I don't really understand because, you know, the scariness of it goes away after the first time his hood flies off. So why is it necessary for it to, you know, why is it necessary for it to do 4 times? And I don't really understand why they would do that. Maybe it has to do with, you know, I don't even know, but I just think it's kind of unnecessary for them to do that, and I think it could preserve battery life if they would have made him just go off a singular time per, you know, his sensor going off. Because I don't really, I don't understand why it was 4 times, honestly. That's the point of that. He is battery operated, so he doesn't need to connect to a cord, so that's nice. Would recommend that at the end of the season you take the batteries out of his hood and probably take him apart. Probably just reduce if there is any strain on the neck thing. But other than that, yeah, I would recommend taking the batteries out at the end of the season. So my overall, my final thought / overall opinion on this prop is it is worth $40. There are some improvements that could have been implemented to this prop, but for the fact that it was $40, I'd say that it's still a really cool prop, and I would recommend just about anybody buying this because you could sneak it into just about any theme and it would still look pretty cool. So anyway, guys, that's about all for this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for